They are still here, the pyramid scheme operators. Maybe you've faced them, or probably you are their next target. These pyramid schemes can only destroy your finances, so be aware. We have a story of one nation that was completely destroyed by these pyramid schemes. We're sure that after watching this video, you will not face any of the pyramid scammers. Stay tuned until the end. A pyramid scheme is a dishonest way to make money that relies on enlisting a growing number of investors. Investors are attracted by the original promoters, who then bring in other investors and so forth. Because there are so many more investors at each level, the system is referred to as a pyramid. Pyramid schemes are bound to fail since their capacity to draw in more and more investors is essential to their profitability. The few individuals at the top of the pyramid are the only ones who are financially successful. However, none of the pyramid scams had instigated a revolution, brought down a government, or rendered an entire country bankrupt. This honor goes to the Albanian pyramid scams, which erupted in the early 1990s and, in 1997, threw the whole country into economic chaos. Albania was a wholly communist nation until the late 1980s. It was controlled by an autocrat who valued independence. This indicated that back then, Albania was not conducting trade with other nations. Additionally, private ownership was unheard of for more than a decade. Because of this, nobody in Albania knew even the most fundamental things about investing in financial markets. Additionally, the Albanians had no sources of information, so after years of isolation, the nation was full of financial scandals. Albania quickly and effectively shifted to a market economy, although the banking sector saw very little change. The official financial system in Albania was inadequate. Private banks were scarce in number. Due to the bank's inability to meet the private sector's need for credit, a clandestine credit market supported by remittances and based on family relationships arose. Other dishonest and fly-by-night entrepreneurs were given chances to engage in financial operations as a result of the weaknesses in the Albanian banking system. These groups began to proliferate in great numbers. They provided their investors with interest rates of about 4% monthly. I know this sounds insane, but wait a little longer, as this 4% is soon going to turn into 40%. It was clear that these interest rates could not continue until the economy experienced hyperinflation. Many of these businesses were not even banks. They were only taking out personal loans from the Albanian people. Some of these companies were allegedly used as Italian mafia money laundering schemes. Others were allegedly involved in smuggling products through the border of Albania to the neighboring nation of Yugoslavia, which was subject to UN sanctions. However, the gullible Albanian populace was completely ignorant of the dangers. The funds being managed through the informal credit system grew to $1.2 billion as a result of their continued investments in these activities. As a result of these businesses' success, several pure-play Ponzi operators entered the market. These operators kept putting increasing interest rates up for bid, and eventually some of them were claiming to provide up to 40% interest a month. However, the Albanian public was pulled into these schemes, and anyone with even the least knowledge of finance can state with certainty that such plans are just not conceivable. Farmers gave money to the Ponzi schemes in exchange for the sale of their lands and cattle. To deposit money, there were lines outside the offices of these companies. There are also rumors that these operators worked closely with the Albanian government. This is because they did absolutely nothing in the face of the insane behavior that was growing in the markets. The majority of these operators were operating blatantly unlawful, unlicensed companies. Additionally, neither the companies nor the investors were making tax payments. The government, however, disregarded market activity and allowed the bubble to grow. When the bubble became big enough, these Ponzi schemes amassed assets worth more than 10% of Albania's GDP. In one way or another, every Albanian person has invested in these schemes. The height of the Ponzi schemes had been attained. There was no room for advancement once practically everyone had invested in these schemes. As a result, there were no investors from whom money could be seized and distributed to the earlier investors as interest. When the fly-by-night operators began to leave, the Albanian economy as a whole entered a crisis. Hundreds of people died as a result of street riots. As the military and police fled the government out of fear of enraging the masses, there was a civil uprising. The previous administration was overthrown in favor of a new one, but even the new administration adopted to a resolute stance. For their losses, the investors received no compensation. Investors received money when some Ponzi schemes that still had money were liquidated. That's all for now. Express your views on the scam in the comments below. Thanks for watching.